Hello and welcome to Smaulgld's Indian gold import update for the month of June 2017. Indian gold imports surge again in June. India imported 61 tons or almost 2 million ounces of gold in June. Indian gold imports were up 103% from the 30 tons imported in June 2016, but were down from May's 124 tons, down 51%. Let's get into some news first before we take a look at the charts that we have prepared for you. So, India had a very strong rebound in the first half of the year for gold imports. Last year was a very weak year, and towards the end of the year, the Indian government demonetized and took away the two most commonly used rupee notes, and that left Indians without cash, and that hurt the end of the year sales that would have happened. But the year was weak to begin with. Earlier in the year in 2016, as prices were rising on Brexit fears, Indians were holding back on their gold purchases. Let's take a look at some of the news just in the last couple of weeks. So it was reported that Indian gold imports had doubled ahead of the new tax that they put in place this year, but the tax was lower than they expected to be, the general goods and services tax. So we might not see a big drop off in the second half of the year, although according to the World Gold Council, who's not really a promoter of gold very much, they expect gold imports to fall in the second half, and they see an increase in the rise of smuggling. Also, the Indian Central Bank is still messing around with that gold monetization scheme where you're supposed to turn your gold into the government. They give you a bond, you get interest on it. So far, some temples have given some of their gold up, but for the most part, it's been pretty much a bust because Indians, if they wanted paper from the Indian government, they can get it. They don't need to give up their gold to get that. The Indian Trade Ministry has recommended a reduction in gold import duty, which is interesting. And part of that is because their trade imbalance has improved. We're going to take a look at a chart in a minute on what percentage Indian gold imports end up being as a total of the Indian total imports. So it is a consideration for the Indian government. The amount of gold that comes into the country, they don't have any mining, so they have to import it. And unfortunately for the Indian government, they have a population that wants gold, so they import tremendous amounts of it. The former RBI governor said it's inappropriate to dissuade gold imports. So we're seeing some mixed signals here that maybe they want to let more gold into the country if their trade balance improves. And maybe they think the more gold that's in the country, they might get a small sliver of it in their gold monetization scheme. And then here it says Indian falling trade deficit open space to reduce gold import tax, says government official. So take a look at these articles if you're interested in. I think that's basically what you need to know. But if you're interested, you can click on the links on the Smaulgld website. Now, before we take a look at the charts, just looking here, I'm seeing a lot of stuff. Bitcoin, Ethereum, Litecoin. If you're interested in that, you can open up a Coinbase account. If you want to trade that, you get $10 worth of free Bitcoin. If you buy $100 worth of Bitcoin when you open an account, Smaulgld also gets $10 worth of free Bitcoin. If you want to store your Bitcoin, Ethereum, Litecoin, Dash, a number of other cryptocurrencies off the exchanges, you can buy a Ledger wallet for about €59. This handy little device, the Nano S, actually that's not a picture of it, but there's an improved version of that. It can store your cryptocurrencies or your private keys, and if there's a hack on the exchange or somehow the government goes after the exchange, you still have your cryptocurrency keys and you can access your coins. Also, if you're interested in buying gold or silver, you can do so through the Smaulgld website at the links below, and also on the Smaulgld site. You can compare pricing and shipping at SD Bullion, BJSC.com, Golden Eagle Coin, and Money Metals Exchange. Not investment advice to buy gold or silver or even cryptos. But if you're going to do so, consider shopping at the affiliate links because you pay no more, no less than if you visited those sites directly. Some of you shop there as it is, and Smaulgld gets a small commission. You can also consider helping the site out by becoming a Smaulgld patron. and donating a small or large amount each month, or you can donate via Bitcoin, Litecoin, the links are below, or via PayPal. Now let's get into those charts against the backdrop of what's happening with gold in India. Remember, gold in India comes basically, if you want it, you got to import it. Or you can buy some of the recycled gold that's in India, but that's not a large source of Indian gold. Basically, they buy it and they have to buy it from imports. So it was 61 tons. That was down from May imports. You can see May was a big month, 124 months, biggest in the last 12 months. And then, of course, these months here, June, July, and August, were very, very low. So the increase to 61 tons, while it looks like it's a big 103% gain, it's basically, if we look at other charts of Indian gold imports, there it is right there, June. It's a decent month. It's not a bad month. It's not a tremendous month. It's a good month. 60 tons of gold. So you can see here, these numbers don't tell you much. It's cut in half here and it's double from there. But basically, well, you split the difference. And it's about one of the average months since 2014. These are some of the big months. India had a lot of gold imports in 2014-15. In fact, here you go. 949 tons in 2015, although 2011 was the biggest. There's some very big years here, 2010, 11, 12. And last year, you can see it fell off. We're almost at, through June, at the same level as 2016. So definitely this year, Indian gold imports will probably crack 700-800. They might even approach 900. We'll see what happens with the import tax and just the general finances of Indians, and also what the monsoon season looks like. That has a big factor on physical gold demand in India. If you get good rain, you get good crops, then the farmers, they've got a little extra cash and they're saving that in gold generally. So we'll see what happens later in the year. Now here's what I was talking about, India's problem with gold. Look at this. In 2013, there were some times it was close to 18% here. 2006, 18, 19, close to 20% of their total imports are basically from gold. And you can see that's a problem for the Indian government because gold is basically not a necessity. It's not a foodstuff. It's not, and so basically their trade imbalance gets pushed off. Recently, it's pretty high. So I don't know. They seem to be. It's gotten higher. It used to be in the single digits in 2016 because, let's go back up here. You know, this kind of gold importation isn't that much. They can deal with that because it's single digit. But once they start importing big amounts, you can see you can get to 15-20% of their imports. So that's what the Indian government is looking at. Besides them not wanting the Indian government to have money outside the system, India is very advanced now. They're moving towards a cashless society. They've got some other technologies where basically everyone's on a grid. So gold is very important to Indians and the Indian government. You can tell they'd rather know what the Indians have. That's why they have that monetization scheme. If they can't wean them off of gold, they figure they can at least take it from them and give them interest on it. Also, there's a company, I think it's called PayTM in India. They have like a digital gold. It's similar to gold money. I haven't researched that product, but apparently they're selling a lot of gold digitally. And also, let's say you donate via PayPal or Bitcoin. Here's where the Indian gold reserves stand. See, the country only has 557 tons in its central bank. It's estimated that 18 to 22,000 tons of gold are in the country in the hands of Indian citizens. There's probably about 5-10,000 tons of gold in the Indian temples. And I just find it interesting that the central bank doesn't deem it necessary to have that much in gold, whereas the whole country has 20-30 tons probably somewhere in someone's hands or someone's temples in the country. But we don't have the same controversy over the Indian Central Bank declaring that they only have 557 tons. As we'll see, in China, they're always complaining about what the People's Bank of China has on its balance sheet. They insist that there's more gold in the country. Of course there is, just like there's more gold in India. Anyway, that's it for today. We have some more good content coming up, so please make sure you subscribe to this channel, give it a like, share it, and also subscribe to Smaulgld.com. Thank you very much.